Hi, I'm Matt in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. This week, Matt and I are going to be bringing you a TV review of a Netflix series, Locke and Key. It stars Connor Jessup as Tyler Locke, Amelia Jones as Kinsey Locke, Jackson Robert Scott as Bodie Locke, and their mother is played by Darby Stanchfield as Nina Locke. There's a lot of interesting things in this series, but the basics of it is that they live in their family's mansion. They just moved there, and this house makes magic keys that can do all sorts of different things. So, Matt, what did you think of Lock and Key?
Locke Key was kind of a interesting movie, or movie show, but I should say, really, it had some interesting parts. Uh, this is the latest kind of Netflix series I feel that kind of fits kind of like a pattern where each episode has some semi-interesting things, but the really interesting thing doesn't come out until the very end of the episode, and they just throw it in there so that you have to watch the next episode. It's like, oh, I gotta keep binging. I gotta keep binging. I gotta watch this one. But overall, in general, I kind of thought this show kind of follows the pattern of other, teen drama patterns, almost like Sabrina, the new Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix. It's a teen drama with magical elements added on top of it.
So this was a viewer recommendation, and I'm glad that we got this because I wouldn't have otherwise watched this on my own. But honestly, I was super frustrated by this series. I I kept thinking, well, what if I was a teenager watching it? Would I still like it? I remember when I was a teenager, I was watching probably things I shouldn't have been watching. And younger, I would watch Indiana Jones and stuff like that. And this series is just so much the Netflix formula. It's just like Altered Carbon. It just drops you in this world, and then everything kind of comes to head in like the last episode. And I'm a little bit over it. I don't think that this was a good series for that. Like, as an example, near the end, there's a mystery character who's been swapped out, and the only mystery was I don't know who. Like, I absolutely know that someone was swapped out. I'm like, I can see that coming from a mile away. I just don't know which person it is. And because there's a magic key that can change how someone looks into somebody else. Like, that's established. So for me, the series was just it just I was waiting for them to get into it, and they just never do. They keep going to school. They don't take the situation they're in seriously, and I thought that was really to the detriment of the series.
Yeah, to me, I don't really necessarily enjoy a lot of the story or even like the characters in this show. I think the keys are kind of like the stars in the most part, like what they can do. But it's kind of interesting. Like these keys change hands kind of quickly. They go in the hands of our hero characters, and then some of them go into the hands of the villain characters, and then they come back in the heroes' hands, but only for a very short time, and they go right back into the villain's hands again. So it's kind of weird how the kids and stuff treat these keys and stuff. And one thing I was really disappointed about this film is there doesn't seem to be any consequences to any of the actions that the characters take in this episode. Maybe this is me being, okay, boomer, even though I'm not a boomer thing. But
No, you're just an old grumpy 32-year-old
yeah,
or
I'm a
whatever.
33-year-old, soon to be 34-year-old or whatever. Yeah, 30, some of the shows that we watched as kids, they would have like kind of like lessons. It's kind of like, there was consequences to your actions, and you're like learning about the lessons from this. In this show, I don't think there's any consequences to using the keys. That there is behaviors that the kids take with these keys that are kind of, they're morally questionable. And there's parts where other characters are kind of like trying to call them out on that, like, hey, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't use it for that. And it could be a good talking point, but instead the show just completely disregards it later. By the end of the episode or by the next episode, the people that were pushing them on those ideas have already moved past, like, oh well, let's just move past on that kind of thing. There's no consequences really to anyone's actions in this show.
So I kept thinking, if I were a teenager and I got a hold of some of these keys, what would I do? But then there's a difference because like these kids, they're not just having fun with the keys like their parent did, like their dad who actually lived at the house as a kid did, where they just were having a good time with the keys. These kids are in peril. Their family is in mortal danger, not just like little danger, like death danger. And they don't take the situation seriously. They go to school and they just have fun with the keys. And I'm like, man, if I were a teenager, admittedly, you might use the keys to do something nefarious because you're a teenager, you know? But at the same time, the situation they were put in warrants that they actually take the situation seriously, and they don't. It's, that's what frustrated me the most. I just did not care about any of the high school drama, any of the kids and the friends. And yes, you can say the friends all came back at the end, but I'm like, they came back at the end because out of necessity, like no other reason. We need to drag this body and we can't do it alone. Let's call up our friends. And I was like, man, that's so cheap. And I know this is based on a graphic novel, and I haven't read that, but I have to assume that the novel does it better. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't read the graphic novel either, and like just go back to what I said before. I think really the keys are the the stars really of the show. The only really character development I see really with the characters is in how they use the keys. Kind of like, you Bodhi, he has a key that can go anywhere, and the thing that's in his head is like, I want to go to the ice cream parlor.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can completely understand Bodhi, but at that point, he also didn't know he was in peril. So it's like, oh, this is a key I found, and I want to go to the ice cream shop. That's fine. It's when it's become really clear that they're in trouble, that they still just keep going about normal things, and that was really hard for me to get over. And then, like we had already mentioned, the whole Netflix thing, like, here's there's drama and there's mystery, and then there's the way Netflix does it. And they seem to do it for every show. Lost in Space is very big in it. Altered Carbon, which I already mentioned, is super big in it. Like, they just don't show you anything, and then they're like, oh, that's mysterious. And it's like, yeah, but it's not very good drama because, for example, in this, if they had let the audience know the character who had been switched out near the end, the audience could be on the edge of their seat thinking, oh my god, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? But they don't let the audience know until after it's already been done. So I'm trying not to spoil anything because it's really literally the end of the series. But it could have been handled a lot better. And again, I don't know how it's handled in the graphics novel, but from a TV series standpoint, it was probably not very enjoyable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, us, we probably didn't enjoy it too much, but some of these shows, are popular shows, so there are people that do like this kind of thing. To me, it felt a lot like Sabrina, the new Sabrina on Netflix. Only I enjoyed that first season of Sabrina better than I enjoyed this. But if you're someone that enjoys, like, oh, I really like Sabrina, or, I really liked, some other ones that are like the Netflix shows that follow those kind of same, teen drama beats with just, like, the little bit of supernatural added to it, you're probably going to enjoy this one. But to me, I mean, it was interesting in parts of it were interesting, and this sets up for more seasons ahead. But
It's actually been confirmed for a season 2.
For season 2 confirmed now.
Yep.
I don't know that I'm actually gonna go out and watch the second season. I think I've seen all that I really need to see with this first season.
So I think that you get to a good point, though, Matt. Like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you don't. And if you did find enjoyment in it, I'm happy that you liked it. I'm happy that you found enjoyment in it. And don't let it dissuade anyone. Like, if you want us to look into something, you want us to be like, hey, I think you guys should check this out and do a review on it. if you like it, us not liking it does not take away from you liking it. You know? So if you really enjoyed this series just because Matt and I didn't, please catch season 2 and be like, "Hey, maybe you guys should give season 2 a look. There's some things that have changed that you mentioned from your previous review." I'm kind of open to watching season 2, but it's just because I really like to finish things. So, there's that.
Yeah, if you guys really did enjoy this, we want to hear what parts of this that you really enjoyed, or what parts of it that that Randall and I didn't put as much stock into it and stuff that you want to see or whatever. Let us know about that kind of stuff. In the comments. Randall, any final thoughts or anything you want to say about this show?
The bulk of this show is in the character interactions, the family. It's a big family show about a family coming together to face this situation. So if you like that kind of dynamic, there's definitely something here for you to like.
Yep, these kids and stuff. This family definitely has some history, and they reveal more and stuff of that. Of their family dynamic and everything as you go on through it. The characters at times are really enjoyable. Like you feel for this family, and I think you feel for what they've gone through, the horrible stuff they've gone through or whatever. Like I said, let us know your comments, how you feel. What do you like about this? What necessarily do you not like about this show? If you liked our review, be sure to give us a thumbs up. We have a lot more other video reviews and about TV shows and movies. Just hit the subscribe button, be able to see that other stuff. And also check out our Facebook page. We'll be keeping you up to date on different stuff that we're working on and engage with our fans. For now, I'm Matt here in Michigan. See you guys.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Everyone have a great day.